Welcome to Legislative Alert, Financing Detroit Public Schools.
As we conclude the 93rd legislative session, the Detroit Public School District is in a do or die fight. As I did when I fought the school takeover, I'm once again asking for your help. Even though we lost the initial battle for elected leadership in our district, steady progress has been made under the amended reform plan, moving our district closer to educational parity with other school districts. The fight over elected leadership, however, pales in comparison to the battle we now face. Hundreds of you called and traveled to Lansing to support Representative Vaughn, Kilpatrick, and I, and the rest of the Detroit delegation in the school takeover fight. We need your help once again. If you did not help us before and wish you had, don't make the same mistake twice. Please stop, take a moment, and let my colleagues here in Lansing know that you want the children of Detroit to be given the same opportunities as all other children in Michigan. Because of the fiscal crisis we are facing, and it's been well publicized, school districts across Michigan are now concerned about the state's ability to finance school infrastructure programs. Just as the Detroit Public School District is making a tremendous program effort, tremendous progress in rebuilding and modernizing our schools, House Republicans now want to deny Detroit Public Schools access to the Michigan School Bond Loan Fund. This is unprecedented. The Michigan Constitution requires the Michigan Department of Treasury to approve any qualified school district. Now House Republicans intend to make that applicable to every school district but Detroit. Your delegation needs your help. If we lose the battle for equal access to the state's finances, we've lost the war for equal educational opportunities for our children. Our class sizes will never be reduced. Our schools will never be modernized. There will be no new building construction, and young families will continue to enroll their children in school districts outside of Detroit. Mayor Kilpatrick cannot rebuild and revitalize the city of Detroit without the ability to rebuild our school district. For Detroit, as you know, it's never been about education. It's always been about money. It was bad enough that they tried to take complete control of the $1.5 billion Detroit residents raised to rebuild our schools. Now, they want to stop our school district from getting the $5 billion we need to finish the work that has begun. Electing a school board is important, but that pales in comparison to our need to have equal access to the state's finances and credit to support public education. We have to keep our building and infrastructure program going. That's our fight. And in these final days of the legislative session, we desperately need your help. Let's take a quick moment and look at our progress.
Exciting things are happening at Detroit Public Schools all over the city. New schools are going up. Hundreds of existing schools are being improved and remodeled, each with the goal of enhancing the learning environment of thousands of Detroit students.
The building of new schools in the district is going to revitalize what we do with our students.
And I'm glad to hear that there's going to be a new building and this institution will carry on long after this building here is done with.
The condition that some of these kids go to school in is absolutely not conducive to a good learning environment, and this program is changing that. It's creating state-of-the-art 21st century learning environments that will enhance student achievement and provide a better opportunity for growth and development for all of the kids in Detroit.
It's long overdue. Our students have performed in just such an outstanding manner, even without the state-of-the-art facility. And I'm just excited to see what's going to happen as a result of all of this.
A Detroit public school is at the center of a neighborhood.
And I think that that is encouraging to communities when they can see that there's an anchor, and they can see that investments are being made in their community rather than being taken out of their community.
Back in the early 90s, Detroiters recognized a crisis. Our aging public school facilities were literally crumbling.
When we had that last ice storm, a whole section of our business department was shut down because the lights were out. So we had to shift students around, and certainly that impacts what they're going to accomplish for that time.
While the national average age for public school buildings is 42, Detroit's average is 62.
First of all, there hadn't been a new elementary school in a lot of years. Our buildings were averaging over 60 years of age. I mean, that tells a story right there.
Many of Detroit's school buildings are just too old to renovate.
In major metropolitan areas, the disinvestment in public facilities, particularly school facilities, has been a nationwide problem. The classrooms weren't big enough. The gymnasiums weren't big enough. There wasn't enough seating available in the high school basketball court to have parents come watch the games. The media centers were very small. There was no wiring for technology. So all of these things are historical problems that have impacted not just Detroit, but every major urban school system.
So in 1994, Detroit voters passed a $1.5 billion bond program to start bringing Detroit public schools up to date. It was the most ambitious school construction program in Michigan's history, and one of the largest ever in the nation. That was the good news. The bad news, for the next 5 years, progress was slower than expected. Through June 30th, 2000, of the $1.5 billion, just $187 million was spent. Two things happened. Detroit school buildings continued to deteriorate, and due to inflation, the district lost at least $80 million in buying power. By the fall of 1999, newly appointed Detroit Public Schools interim CEO, Dr. David Anamani, had refocused the district's attention back to capital improvements. And since his arrival in July of 2000, the permanent CEO, Dr. Kenneth Burnley, has re-energized and refined the capital improvement program to address the needs and expectations of 21st century students and educators. Quickly identifying any program gaps, Dr. Burnley challenged his team to put the outstanding bond monies to work.
But just as the teachers do the job to educate your children, this is part of our job. We should be delivering these projects on time and on budget, and if something goes wrong, we should solve it.
While he initially distinguished himself as University of Michigan's first African-American track coach, in 1993 he was honored by the AASA as National Superintendent of the Year. Dr. Burnley is a proud product of Detroit Public Schools.
I grew up here. I loved it. Had a fantastic education. Just unparalleled education right here in DPS. And so I want people to know that young people are getting that kind of an education right here in DPS today. Some others are not. And we need to make everyone understand that all can get that kind of an education.
The plan Burnley and his team developed was based on 4 goals: improving student achievement, creating safe school environments, enhancing community involvement, and transforming the district into an effective and efficient organization. To help carry out this effort, the new program manager team again was put to the challenge. They responded, and progress started.
The team's responsibility is the oversight of the bond program in terms of making sure that the monies are spent in a way that is in the best interest of the district.
The bond plan has an extremely aggressive schedule that calls for all of the remaining bond money to be spent by 2005. That accelerated pace is necessary to keep inflation from eating up any more buying power. The objective is to address the most serious problems as soon as possible. The largest chunk, $703 million, will be spent on new construction. The impressive list of new construction includes 8 new elementary schools. 4 of those new schools opened their doors in 2001, and 4 more new schools are set to go online in the fall of 2002. 2 new middle schools are also under construction and will open in 2003. Additionally, Cass Technical High School is slated to open in the fall of 2004, and 2 additional new high schools are scheduled to open in the fall of 2005. Renaissance High School on the former Sinai Hospital site, and the Fine Performing and Communication Arts High School adjacent to Orchestra Hall on Woodward. This modern 6-story tall building will accommodate 1,200 gifted students. Cass Tech, which was originally built in 1917 and is Detroit's premier technical training institute, is long overdue for replacement. Not only is damage to the 85-year-old structure evident, like the peeling paint, cracked walls, and damaged fixtures, it's also apparent the classrooms and facilities belong to another era.
But I think the new building, the new facilities will bring about a new opportunity, a new experience for everyone to share. That's what we mostly will be looking for, the new opportunity to share and experience new things and better things in life.
And in April, a groundbreaking ceremony marked the beginning of the new Cass Technical High School.
It's just absolutely fantastic to see the Cass and Central and all these other schools go up in Detroit.
And you're proud of the business module, I'm sure.
Oh, definitely. I'm proud of this entire concept of bringing new schools to Detroit. We've been waiting for this a long time. This is how our bond money needs to be spent, and I'm proud of Dr. Burnley and this team for making it come into fruition.
And we've got kids that are interested, kids that are committed, kids that are excited about learning.
And kids who are also understanding the business aspect of what's going on here today, too.
Absolutely. They know that without business, nothing lasts, that all of our institutions are going to fail if we don't have business investment. So the fact that we have this institution is going to spur business, and business will support this institution so that we'll have new generations of scientists and doctors and teachers, technologists, and corporate executives. Cass is the place to be, and I'm proud to be a graduate of Cass Technical High School, the greatest in the world.
New construction bond funds will also create 6 additions and 2 early learning centers to accommodate the needs of preschoolers and working families. Remodeling or additions to existing facilities will account for $220 million and will add an estimated 25 years to the building's lifespans. Schools that will receive major improvements or additions include 2 elementary schools, 5 elementary middle school combinations, and 4 high schools. 2 of those high schools will be completely remodeled and expanded: Central High, which was built in 1926, and Southeastern High. Students and teachers at Renaissance High are excited about the future.
We're all excited. All the staff here are pretty excited. We're going to have additional classrooms. We're going to have computer labs on each floor, and we're really excited about this because one of the major concerns here has been the lack of technology.
I think the only thing that's lacking is just the physical manifestation of what's to come. I think we already have it in our minds because, you know, despite our lack of facilities, we still excel. So all we need is those facilities to just improve, you know, what we're already doing now.
The program manager team is focused on finding ways to make these buildings more accessible to the community, to maximize the investment the community is making.
I've always felt that public facilities should in some way offer some advantage to, you know, the surrounding community. And having a new structure in this area, we could certainly invite the community in to take advantage of some of the outstanding features of the facility.
One of the main reasons it's accessible is if you go into any of the new elementary schools in Detroit Public Schools, you'll find that as soon as you walk in, you turn to the left or right, and there you have your administrative offices. Then you have corridors for the educational classrooms. So right in front of you, stairway going up, is to the media centers. Also behind the front entryway is the gymnasium and the stage area. Also, you have a full utilized kitchen facility. So at the end of school day, you can block and seal those corridors off. So then the community now can have functions such as Read Across America. They can have choral and instrumental concerts. So it makes the community embrace that facility, which cuts down on your vandalism. Because if I have ownership in a property, I'm not going to let you trash it. I'm not going to let you write on the walls. And that's what we want.
$442 million has been allocated for facility improvements, including technology upgrades. Among the improvements, new roofs, new windows, new heating systems, and kitchens. Beautification of many school sites will be addressed. And $35 million will be spent improving athletic facilities and playgrounds at 76 school locations. Special Education and Americans with Disabilities Act upgrades at 11 facilities will cost $51 million. The new focus will be on creating environments to mainstream these special students.
And I like to see special needs as not only students with disabilities, but some of our more academically gifted students are all part of a special population of young people on both ends of the spectrum that we need to serve. But for our handicapped youngsters in particular, we're really proud of what we've done. We've built some new wings for our special education students. We think we're much more compliant with the law that requires they be integrated as much as possible with the mainstream. And so we've got them in quarters and buildings where they have their own school within a school, and where they can be integrated, they will be.
The thing that's commonly understood now is that kids who have special needs develop best when they are around other kids their own age and interact with other kids their own age as much as is possible. It's also known that that's good for the other kids to have children with special needs around them. It makes everybody better.
Technology, increasing in importance every year, has an overall budget of $189 million spread throughout the bond program. This money will go toward wiring schools to accommodate new technology and bring 21st century instruction techniques to Detroit students, teachers, and parents. $44 million has been allocated to improving school safety and security. A large part of this money will go toward outfitting middle schools with security and monitoring devices. And finally, $111 million will go toward support activities, such as providing over 300 much-needed new school buses and creating maintenance service centers to better maintain our schools. An extremely important element of the plan's implementation has been the commitment to using minority and Detroit-based businesses. Of the project money spent to date, over 50% has been awarded to minority contractors, and over 70% of the funds have gone to Detroit-based businesses. The numbers were confirmed at a March press conference.
The facts in this case, in terms of the capital program, refute those emotions when they say all the money is leaving, all the money is going to non-minority owned businesses. It's just not true. 51% of that money is staying in the black business community, 74% of it is staying right here in Detroit. That's what a bond program for a school district should do.
One of the targets, one of the goals, as an example, was that at least strive for 30% of the business going to minority-based businesses here in Detroit. Well, when I first arrived, they said, oh, we can't hit that target.
It's precedent-setting activity that's going on here. It's proving what we've been saying in front of the school board and everywhere else that anybody would listen all along, is that African-American business know how to design and build schools. We know how to design and build a lot of things. So given the opportunity, which the school district has allowed us to have here, we've proven the point.
So when this is all said and done, you will have not only projects delivered on time and on budget, but you'll have Detroit-based businesses that can compete with the big guys because they've got a track record, they've got better capacity and better skill sets. And we've also introduced them in Washington and other places. That's one of the things we're going to be proudest about to come out of this.
Corporations, civic groups, community leaders, and parents have stepped up to do their part in shaping the spending plan. For example, through their tireless efforts and commitments, an advisory body to Dr. Burnley, the Civic, Corporate, and Community Committee, has reshaped the Facility Improvement Fund by nearly $150 million. The Civic, Corporate, and Community Committee provides vital input to the planning process by offering valuable perspectives from throughout the community.
Well, we've been more of a sounding board for the Detroit program management team, kind of bouncing ideas off of us, and it's a board made up of business, community, and civic leaders. And we've been able to give them a little input on what we thought would work and may not work in the community.
The district's upcoming move to new offices is another example of looking for creative ways to save money. In March, Dr. Burnley announced they were selling the school's center building to Wayne State University and moving their administrative offices to New Center. The old school center building has become outdated and costly to operate. The new space will be more modern and more efficient, factors that will improve productivity and make it more convenient for visitors to the administrative offices. A welcome center will also be established at the new Center 1 building, and over 600 parking spaces will be available. This move will save at least $3 million a year in operating budget expenses. It's just another example of the district looking for means to directly impact students in a positive way.
5 to 7 years from now, I expect to see the $1.5 billion totally allocated and all the work completed. And we'll see brand new elementary schools, brand new high schools, brand new middle schools, buildings upgraded that have been in real disrepair. Most of the district wired and networked so young people have up-to-date technology. And I can simply tell you, seeing that will bring a tremendous sense of satisfaction.
But in the midst of this flurry of construction activity and renovation, district officials are saying that the current bond funds only begin to address the needs of Detroit Public Schools. In 1994, initial estimates placed the total need at around $3.9 billion. Now the need is well over $5 billion and growing every year.
Regrettably, $1.5 billion represents only a small portion of the total value of the physical plant in the school system. If you took the cost of replacing all 268 Detroit public schools, that number would perhaps be close to $10 billion. So $1.5 billion in that, couple that with the fact that the schools are old, that the classrooms are small, that much of the technology is obsolete, and it begins to help one understand that the overall need is really much greater than $1.5 billion. It's certainly more than 3 times that. But the important part is that we've made a start. The start's meaningful. You can go out and see the new buildings under construction. You can go into the new ones that have been finished to see what the quality is.
The massive comeback effort mounted by the city of Detroit goes hand in hand with the revitalization of Detroit's public school system. Strong public schools clearly have a positive effect on neighborhoods.
More than anything, when you have a strong investment in the school system in a community, it inspires businesses as well as other local groups to come and invest as well. And that's the intent of the Capital Improvement Program, not only the educational, but also that these communities can become neighborhood communities for these children, and that they go to the school in the area, they walk to school, it's safe for them, it's comfortable, and again, as I said before, they embrace the building.
I've heard parents in the community say, my gosh, that school is so nice that I need to fix my property up because it's right next door, right down the street. It's brought a lot of pride.
Basically, yeah, if you look around, the homes are being rebuilt. The gentleman across the street just told me that his property value went up $20,000 just from this school being built. There's a dilapidated home right on the corner. Last week they started rebuilding it. So people are beginning to say, well, maybe we should start taking pride in this area. And it's had a positive.
And that pride is most evident inside the schools.
They enjoy the buildings. You walk in anyone and you see these children, they're just smiling and beaming, and they want to go to school. The educational pieces Dr. Burnley is putting in order. So the whole pie is being shaped now. So the children, they're enjoying the buildings. The teachers are enjoying the buildings.
The teachers here and in our new buildings absolutely love the school. I've met with them, talked with them at length. They're appreciative to have up-to-date modern facilities to educate the children in.
The purpose of building new schools is to enable learning. Student achievement is the primary goal of the school system. That's Dr. Burnley's #1 goal. And so we're designing these buildings with natural light, with ease of access, with large classrooms, wired for technology. Everything is about student achievement in a safe, efficient environment.
Now we can walk across the street and see new department developments, new home developments. And so therefore the community should be involved with the school. The community is the school, and your school is a part of your community. So I think that helps a lot.
And each one of those communities are extremely happy to see some change in their community. They're feeling good about the progress that they're seeing. They are believing that it has not been all in vain, that the dollars that they have set aside or that they have committed to Detroit Public Schools, that they're actually seeing some benefit from that now, and I think that that's well worth it.
The Detroit Public School System is moving forward with a realistic master plan. But what we've seen so far almost pales compared to what's happening in the next 3 years as the number of projects in progress skyrockets.
We have at this time over 120 active projects. The total program is going to have 400 to 500 projects. And so the pace of the program is very aggressive.
Were it not for the cooperation of the unions in this effort, it just couldn't have been done with the smooth transition that it has had thus far, as people have to deal with some very, very complicated and complex issues.
This is the most ambitious school construction program ever in Michigan's history. Around the city, new buildings are opening and more are going up. Renovations and repairs are in progress. It's an exciting time for Detroit Public Schools.
The goals are real simple. Student achievement, all of this has to be tied to a rationale for students learning better. Then you want to create a safe, clean environment, and that certainly does hit that goal.
I think that the popular notion among many is that the migration, the population migration of cities, and Detroit in particular, occurred with the awakening, if you will, of the 60s and 70s, or the social awakening of the 60s and 70s, when in reality, that migration actually began in the late 1940s and all through the 1950s. People were looking for single-story homes, ranch-style homes, larger lots, and certainly looking for quality education and modern facilities. As the 80s and 90s came in, that trend persisted, except homes got taller, the lots got smaller, but the common denominator was that people were still looking for quality education and modern facilities.
And it's important for Detroit to catch up